username. I'm always tickled to see the creativity that is among the group on names. So looks like Maggie figured it out. So we've got Maggie playing.
You keep giving yours away.
I'm a good amateur.
Kristen.
You're such a good
That's fine. No. Fine. Okay. All right. So it looks like we are getting now. For those of you who are on the fence of whether you want to play or not, you know, in the spirit of competition here, I've got some gift cards for you. So for the third place winner, I've got a $25 gift card for some restaurants. For the second place winner, there's a $50 gift card for some restaurants. And for the first place winner, I'll invite you to a steak at Texas Roadhouse, and it's a $75 gift card. So let the competition begin, right? All right. Do we have any final people? Okay, looks like most of you have already joined. So, folks, the whole purpose of this is just to get you to start thinking a little bit about health insurance, and the world of insurance is just so boring. We figured that this would be a good way for us to communicate certain things. So I think 27 people have signed up, so let's go ahead and begin. We're going to have 10 questions, so it's not going to be a very long game. So you only have 10 questions to guess. And here is question number 1. How much does the U.S. spend on healthcare in a typical year? What do you think we spend as a country in healthcare? Premiums, medical procedures, everything that is involved with healthcare. How big do you think this industry is? All right. And it looks like 9 of you got the correct answer. Does 4.5 trillion, is that surprising to you? It is, it was to me. $4.5 trillion is how much is involved in this whole healthcare system, from hospitals, doctors, all of that. So let's see who is in first place. Here, Elizabeth. Elizabeth is in first place. Now, remember, the rule is, yes, you need to get the question correct, but the faster that you answer the question, the more points you are able to earn, okay? So, it looks like Elizabeth did a very, very good job here. All right, question number 2. Here we go. On average, an employer insurance plan pays claims at what percentage of Medicare? Is it 250%, 120, 80, 150? What do you think? Your employer plans are paying hospitals at what percentage of Medicare? All right, only one person got that. Isn't this surprising?
Yes.
Okay, a lot of people don't realize that the PPO networks that we all fight for, right, that I want my doctor to be in the network, they're actually getting compensated anywhere from $250 to $270. I've seen reimbursement rates at 350% of whatever Medicare pays. Okay, that is something that a lot of people don't know, right? So, but it looks like one person did, and it's Bob. All right, so Bob H did get that answer correctly. All right, so next question. Question number 3. Generic prescription drugs are typically marked up by, how much do you think they're marked up by? It's just generic medications, right? They're not marked up that much. So is it 20%, 100%, 60%, or 500%? What do you think? Surely they mark them up, right? But how much do they mark them up? 10 of you, yes, 10 of you were correct. Again, this is surprising, isn't it? Generic medications, and I have a few slides after this game that I want to review with you, but you're going to see that generic medications can be increased in cost. I've seen it up to 2,500% of whatever the cost is, okay? A lot of people don't know that. And we're talking about the least of the expensive medications, right? The generics. Okay, so let's see who got it. Looks like Daniel, and there you go. All right, he's going for that Texas Roadhouse first place. Okay, let's go to the next question. Question number 4. Zolgensma, that's a drug, is an example of a gene therapy drug, and per dose, it costs approximately how much? Okay? You only need 1 dose, but that 1 dose costs anywhere from 50 to 120, 800, 2.1 million, 1.5 million. What do you think? What do you think? 2.1 million. 2.1 million. This particular medication actually is not the most expensive medication out there. The most expensive medication is running around 4 million, okay? So gene therapy is an area, basically it's a drug that you only need to administer it once because it gets into your genes and corrects some abnormalities, and it's very expensive at $2.1 million. Okay, so who got that one? Val, all right. Val is making a comeback there. All right. All right, so next question, 5 out of 10, here we go. Since the Affordable Care Act was passed, premiums in North Texas for small business policies have increased by how much? How much do you think it has increased? 30%, 75%, 250, 165. What do you think? The Affordable Care Act. It's interesting how they named that, right? Affordable Care Act. All right, so 5 of you got the answer. All right? Since 2009, the insurance premiums, if you look at 2009 and you look at the insurance premiums now, by the way, this is for small businesses, right? And by small businesses, we classify that as under 500 employees, okay? For this exercise. It is gone up approximately 165%, right? Which is why I chuckle when they throw in that term there, affordable. It hasn't been affordable since it started. Okay, let's see who is up there. Val is on fire. Wow, okay. She has a streak of 3. Okay, so number 6. It's less expensive to pay cash for a medical procedure than use medical insurance. True or false? True or false? I think I can get a better deal than Blue Cross Blue Shield is really what the question's asking, right? Do you think you can get a better deal than Blue Cross Blue Shield if you pay cash? I don't know. Let's see what the answer is here. The answer is true, folks. The answer is true. Okay? It is amazing how Blue Cross, having millions of members, cannot negotiate the reimbursement to hospitals and doctors better than you can, right? You can negotiate a better reimbursement on a cash basis. And I have some slides on this as well so you can see. Okay, looks like Val is, wow, okay. All right. Here we go. All right, let's see if we can keep that to the end. All right, 7 out of 10. Here we go. All pharmacies charge the same amount for prescription drugs. I hope everybody gets that correctly. All pharmacies charge the same amount for prescription drugs. So if you get a particular prescription drug at one, is it the same cost at another pharmacy? All right, so everyone knows, right? that it depends on where you go is the cost. It's very interesting. A lot of people think that Walgreens, being that it's big, CVS, being that it's big, they should have the deeper discounts, and it's not true actually, right? It's like buying a gallon of milk at 7-Eleven. They add a little convenient surcharge there. So you're paying more for that gallon of milk at 7-Eleven than at Kroger, let's say. Okay, so everybody got moved up there. Val is still in the lead. All right. Here we go. For every dollar of premium, how much must an insurance company keep to use only for your medical claims? They can't use this money for anything else. What percentage of the dollar that they collect must they reserve for claims? What do you think? 25 cents of every dollar, 55, 95, or 85 cents? All right, it looks like 5 of you got it correct. It's 85 cents, right? Now, let me pause here just a second. If the government is telling me as the insurance carrier, let's say, that I can only keep 15%, right? 15 cents of every dollar for my overhead, my profit, my operating expenses, right? And I have to use 85 cents to pay claims. What is the easiest way for me to increase my profit? No. Pay more claims. Think about it. The more they pay claims, this 85 cents gets higher, which means that that 15% gets higher. If you're spending $100,000, right, on claims, you get the 15%, whatever that total is, right? Well, if you pay $200,000 in claims, then that makes up 85%, which means that the 15% is bigger from a numbers perspective. Does that make sense? So it begs to question this is an Affordable Care Act provision, by the way, okay? It begs to question, is the insurance company really motivated to reduce costs? And I hate to tell you folks, they're not. Because of this principle right here. They only get to keep 15 cents of every dollar, right? So if we make that dollar bigger, that means that we have to allocate more money on this claim side so that we can keep more money on the 15% side. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay? Yeah, so that's one of the reasons why the Affordable Care Act hasn't really worked. All right, so Val is still in the lead. Yeah, all right. All right, so here is second to the last question. Nationally, how many employers offer a plan with a deductible of $2,000 or more? Okay? $2,000 or more. It could be 5, it could be 6, it could be 3. Nationally, how many employers offer a plan that is greater than $2,000 in deductibles? 47%. So almost half. And this is, by the way, again, focusing on the small business market. Okay? This is excluding the Googles, the Apples, the Teslas, right? Because they've got unbelievable plans. This is the everyday mom and pop shops, right? 47% of them have to offer a $2,000 or greater deductible. Okay. Oh! Wow! It looks like... that Texas Roadhouse gift card just slipped away.
Yeah, with the last question.
All right. Here's your chance to redeem yourself, Val. All right. Here we go. Who is the largest insurance company in the U.S. today? Blue Cross? Aetna? They merged with CVS, by the way. Is it United Healthcare? Is it the government? Who do you think is the largest insurance company in the U.S. today? Okay? All right. And the answer is the government. It's the government, folks, that has the largest insurance program, and we call that Medicare, right? They have millions upon millions of members, right? Okay, so who is the winner of the 25 gift card? Is CCW, whoever that, who's that? Here we go, come on up. Come on up. That's the winner of Hell and MVCat. So this is and MVCat, which one's MVCat? There you go, okay. So, Val, I hope that as you're enjoying your stay at Texas Roadhouse, you start thinking about health insurance and all that. No. Oh, there you go. There you go. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed that, folks, but I wanted to just spend a little bit more time on just a couple of slides here. It's not going to be long because I know my time is short. But let me see if, here we go. All right. I want to address a question that all of you have been dealing with, right? We all deal with this in a day-to-day basis when it comes to health insurance. What is the problem? What is the problem with health insurance, right? So, if I were to ask each and every one of you, what do you think the problem is, I would get several answers. But I would imagine that if we pool those answers, a lot of those are going to revolve around cost, right? Tony, it's just too expensive. It's just crazy. You know, I remember when cost used to be low, now it's high, and it keeps going higher and higher, and there's no end in sight. And you know what? I agree with you that employer healthcare costs have just increased year after year after year. Now, you know what something else has increased year after year? Is deductibles. Deductibles have increased. I remember when I first started my career 25 years ago, the deductible, do y'all remember Harris HMO? Around here? Yeah. We used to sell a policy that had a $50 deductible. Okay? Way back when. And it doesn't seem that long ago. Now the typical deductible, first off, Harris HMO is gone, right? But the typical deductible these days, you saw $2,000 for 47% of the population, right? Here in North Texas, it's running around $5,000, right, for small businesses. So deductibles have increased as well. In fact, this is the chart that I used for that question. If you really want to, if you're the statistics type of person that wants to see all these trends and all of that, I encourage you to look at the Kaiser Family Foundation. It is an independent party that evaluates employer-sponsored plans year after year after year. And based on their data, in 2009, 16% of the small businesses had $2,000 deductibles and greater. Now, 14 years later, it's 47%. Does anybody know what happened in 2009? Anybody? The Affordable Care Act. The Affordable Care Act came in, and remember the question that since the Affordable Care Act, how much have the premiums increased? 165%, right? So what are employers and groups doing to try to mitigate that cost issue? They increase deductibles, right? 50 to 100, 100 to 500, 500 to 1,000, 1,000, 2,000, and so on and so forth, because the greater the deductible, the lower the premium, and that should fix it, right? Except, there is one issue that a lot of people are not realizing until now, is that the higher the deductible, the less people seek care. Think about it. If you were to be in a, let's say, $500 deductible plan and you needed a knee surgery, and then your employer swapped it because of cost, swapped it to a $5,000 deductible, would you want that surgery, or you're going to wait until your deductible is met, and then once your deductible is met, at that point you're going to get everything done. That's typically what happens, right? So it begs the question, do we have a healthier population with these deductibles? Are we getting healthier?
No.
No, we're not. Why? Because the higher the copays and deductibles, the more people will forego care. And that is dangerous, folks. Why? Because people will not go to the doctor and get XYZ done until there's a symptom. And at that point, it's too late, right? At that point, it's a $300,000 issue where you could have fixed it with a $5,000 exam, procedure, screening. Does that make sense? Okay? So we are not getting healthier. So, well, cost is an issue, but it's not the biggest issue. Well, Tony, I know what the issue is that we just need to get all of these doctors in the network, right? If all of these doctors are part of the network, then we should be paying less, right? Well, it's interesting. The reason why I say that is because let's look at a medical procedure, right? Hip replacement. Does anybody have any idea how much a hip replacement costs? What's that? $500,000? Not quite, but it is expensive, but it's not $500,000. So, is it 75,000? Is it 50? Is it 25? Okay? You think about that number in your mind, right? And this is with health insurance, by the way, folks, okay? However, the true cost of a hip replacement without insurance is $17,000. Mind you, $17,000 is an all-inclusive number. What I mean by that, hospital, surgeon, anesthesiology, pathology, all of the doctors that are associated with that procedure are bundled into the cash price of this. Okay? I would encourage you to, in your spare time, Google the Oklahoma Surgery Center. The Oklahoma Surgery Center decided long ago that they were not going to take any insurance. They were not going to take any insurance. They were just going to finance cash pricing for people, right? And it is amazing how their costs have kind of stayed flat all of these years. Yet, why is my premiums going up if costs are pretty standard on cash pricing? It's because of the networks, folks. The networks reimburse based off of what? Not Medicare. They reimburse hospitals and doctors based off of the retail cost of that hospital. So have you ever seen and have you ever had a surgery where you get the bill from the hospital and it's like $30,000, but then when you get the explanation of benefits and it's all said and done, they only pay like $7,000? And you're thinking, wow, my insurance really saved me a bunch of money. In reality, wasn't the final number around $7,000 anyway, right? It's because hospitals and their charge masters and all of that, and doctors do it as well, they go off of the retail cost, right? They're saying, hey, this procedure cost me $50,000 this year, next year it's $55,000, right? So they get reimbursed based off of that, so that's why cash pricing has been more level than reimbursement through insurance. Here's something interesting. If we didn't have any problem with negotiating through PPOs and all of that, this law wouldn't have come on the books. And I don't know if you know this law. This law was actually passed last year. House Bill 2002, the 80th legislature passed it. And it basically said, it's a very short law, and it says that an insurer, Blue Cross Blue Shield, shall credit towards an insured $20 deductible and annual maximum any out-of-pocket expenses in the amount the insured pays directly to the physician or healthcare provider for any medical services. Now, let me translate that, okay? If I were to go, before this law was passed, if I were to go to a doctor and say, hey doctor, I've got Blue Cross Blue Shield, it's a $2,000 deductible, I understand that, but what about if I just settle it cash, right? MRI, they're notorious for that. $2,000 MRI, what about if it's cash? Oh, $400. We'll settle it right now, right? Insurance companies would not give me credit towards my deductible when I paid that $400. Okay? They would not. This is why this law had to be passed. And we're still figuring out how they're going to enforce it and all of that. It's still very new. So we're entering into the regulation stage to see how they're going to regulate all of that. But it's a step in the right direction, right? Blue Cross, I did you a favor, right? I spent less for my healthcare procedure, and yet you're not giving me credit towards my deductible and my out-of-pocket, right? So this law is why it was passed, because of that issue existed. Okay, so competition. Tony, we just need to get more insurance companies into the mix, right? You may, in the past, have seen some of these logos on your health insurance card. Okay, does that ring a bell? Pacific Care, Pacific Life, NowCare. The late Tom Landry used to be the spokesperson for NowCare, Prudential, American Medical Securities, all of those. Folks, those companies are gone. Now, I say gone, they still exist, but they don't operate in health insurance anymore. They sold, they got out of that business. Why? Because of all of the mess that is going on with health insurance, right? They didn't want to mess with that, so they stepped out. So now we only have the four: United, Blue Cross, Cigna, and Aetna. That's it. Now, there are new players that are coming in, which is very exciting for us, but those are the major carriers here. So what is the issue, folks? Really, the answer is this. The problem is lack of transparency, okay? In our business, everything is, secret. Nobody wants to share their pricing. Nobody wants to let you know how much truly a medication costs, which, speaking of medication, some of you may recognize this medication. If you have high blood pressure, you're probably taking it, right? Lisinopril, 20 milligrams. How much do you think that is? How much would you spend at the pharmacy for lisinopril? Very, very common. Well, 20 depends. Okay? I told you CVS and Walgreens were the more expensive ones, right? You can get it at CVS, $5, Walgreens, 12, Tom Thumb, $3. Does $3 sound reasonable to you? Yeah. I mean, if I go to Walgreens, I spend 12, I get it for 3, man, that's a deal. But, did you know that it actually cost 56 cents for that medication? Okay? So what is the difference? Remember that screen I told you that it was marked up by greater than 500%? The true cost of this medication is 56 cents. So people are paying $5, $8, $12. The spread is being kept by somebody, okay? So really the issue is transparency, okay? This is my last slide. This is a book that I have recommended to everyone that I talk to that you should read. It's by a doctor by the name of Marty Makary. He is actually a practicing physician. He is a physician at the Johns Hopkins University Hospital. And he really wanted to dig in on why health insurance is so expensive. I'm going to warn you, you're probably going to get mad. But it does provide you with clarity on why we are in this situation, okay? So I know my time is up, and I hope you learned something today.
Okay, so I also wanted to introduce to you Father Travis Crosby. Father Province has stepped in to help us out, and I just wanted y'all to have a face to the name and know who to call. At the Dyson office, he's there every day, and he's here to help, and he's got himself very well